And that's the best way you can do it if from Portchester.
No, seniors who have cards, free parking. Seniors with cards, free parking.
Yeah.
What about, is there any, does Portchester are there any bus service from Portchester to the park?
You know, was that the route that was cut by the county? There is, I know there is a public transportation bus route that goes along Forest Avenue. Actually, I'm not familiar with the intimate details. Is anybody from staff?
Bill may have some information on that.
But you know, we were talking about actually in a prior meeting. We had talked about reaching out to Westchester County about the bus routes to encourage parking. This is when we were looking with the parking subcommittee. I see some members in the audience. But that was right at the time the county was cutting services.
Bill, what were you going to say?
Are there bus routes, Bill?
There is a bus route. There's a bus route that goes weekdays. They have a very busy bus route. It's good. It's great. Saturdays, it's a little less, like there's one an hour. But Sundays, there are no buses.
Well, okay, but where's it go when it goes?
So it starts, they go all around through Portchester, Rye train stations. They stop right on the corner of Forest Avenue and Dearborn. Or the
I'm in Portchester, just to Goldie's points.
Well, like the train station.
Goldie, the way to avoid parking is to take the bus.
Yes.
So my question is, I'm a Portchester resident on Main Street. How do I get from there to the park?
Well, it's the 76 bus that you can, they have a schedule at any, if you go to any of the bus stops, I know they stop at the train station in several places in Portchester.
All right, well, would you do me a favor, in the same way we're going to deliver flyers to the senior center, could we make it clear to residents of Portchester and the other communities, but particularly Portchester, in the, in the various churches and the various, like, Don Bosco, let's put in the senior center, let's put together a flyer that tells people how they can get from, obviously on the website, but also in the directions on how they can get there.
You mean where the bus stops are?
Yeah, where the bus stops, what the times are. How do I, if you want, I mean, I remember I lived in New York City. I used to go out to Jones Beach.
Two languages you need it in, Hispanic and English.
Espanol.
But as important, Mr. Supervisor, as important, if not more important, right? Because people are going to use multi-modes, and I want to focus just on Portchester, particularly for public transportation. We've spoken about, a couple goals here, right? Priority access, parking access for the preferential pricing was the first thing that we did, right?
Right.
Then we've been talking about, maybe priority access or a priority lot for residents, and ultimately making this free. We want to get more residents there, giving them the preference, because we all work hard in public service for the residents of our communities, not
So maybe on
the zip codes.
maybe on behalf of the commission, we can have Bishop send a letter to the commissioner of DOT in the county and ask if their Beeline service can make a stop during.
Yeah, that's a wonderful suggestion.
And if they agree to that, then we can publicize it.
A wonderful suggestion. A wonderful
You
suggestion.
entertain a motion to adopt the budget?
Yes, I will, but I wanted to just before. This is such a emotional moment for me, Commissioner.
Is that how they do it in Scarsdale? You
They,
just kind of slip that in there?
no, I did. You weren't here earlier, Mayor Pell. I want to thank you and Mayor French for taking the time out and putting that extra time into it. I want to thank the staff again for all their hard work, and the citizens community and the commission. Let's have a great summer and make it a particular park. It's a fantastic park. So can I entertain a motion to approve this year's budget?
I'll make the motion to adopt the budget as presented with the correction as noted for this evening from Mr. Bishop.
Okay, the number you see there is what we're talking about.
That's correct.
Can you state that for the
Made
record?
the adjustments as we were talking here. What you're talking about is a 67,729
67,729 is the magic
Current
number.
deficit.
projected loss, and please note the capital money, we left the capital money in the budget.
Right.
So at this particular point, we are hoping to be able to have the capital money there.
Yeah.
And the reason is that's a separate process. There's a separate allocation between Rye-Town and Rye-City
Right.
on that, and it should be before the Rye-City Council to say, yes, we're willing to now, in our capital budget for the city of Rye, put forth the 39% for these projects.
And what we will do is we will have the amended budget to each of the commissioners probably before the week is out.
Good.
And could somebody just refresh my memory, Doug, the interest rate, where do we land on that? You're okay with? 4%. It's okay.
Yeah, and I know there was a recommendation that we changed the process. I think at the end of the day, this was an aberration. We had a $1.4 million project that skewed and raised the conversation. But I think going forward, I think when you get down to it, Business as usual is fine with us.
Good.
At 4%. You know, by the time you factor everything out, it's not worth changing.
Very good, very good.
Most important, I'll second.
Okay.
That's how we-
Commissioner, want to call that
Okay.
roll?
Who made the motion? Mr.
Nieto,
Salanitro?
seconded by Mayor Feinstein.
Okay, hold on a second.
You'll live with the 4% because you want it to go down to 0, right? That's the goal, right? Then we don't have to worry about that stuff.
Okay, we have Commissioner French
Yes.
and Commissioner Pillow,
Yes.
Commissioner Feinstein.
Yes.
Commissioner Salanitro. Commissioner Carvin.
Yes.
Okay, 5-0.
And the last thing I want to thank the staff. I'm looking forward to a great summer. Mayor French and I yesterday were at the Playland Commission and reviewing the RFPs. You know, I'm confident that at the end of this summer, the county may come over to Rydtown Park and ask you guys to take over the running of that Playland Park. Well, it's not an option right now, but it might be. No, I'm joking, obviously. But let's have a great summer. Thanks, everybody, for all your hard work. Okay, Mr. Nowotnik,
All right.
and actually, let's move to the future as you know, as we're talking about. And I think you're right. I think, you know, I really want to. I can't thank the commission enough and the citizen participation. I got to say, Mayor French did an absolutely fantastic job of integrating the participation from the citizens of the city of Rye, and it only making us better every year. You know, as those of us who've been with us from the beginning, Bishop, Fred, and Bill. From the very beginning, Frank, you know, we've looked to make the park better every year, and we're looking to continue to improve every year going forward. And I know the members of the commission have that same goal. So in that vein, Mr. Nowotnik could just talk to us about where we are with the
Okay,
automation, park
if
automation
you
bid
see
document.
in your packet, that's not something we emailed you, that's something we gave you tonight. We were able to get the actual bid documents out for the parking automation. We did that yesterday. These have been sent to all of the previous bidders. If you'll remember, I think there were something like 11. I apologize. But only 5 responses. But we had 11 firms that took packets, so all of them are getting it. In addition, we are publishing in the Journal News, the Westmore News, and the Sound Shore Review, which are the official papers of the town. And we are trying to see if we can't get this inserted on various bid websites and things of that nature. I know that the Village of
Forward it to
Portchester
us and we'll
is
be
part
happy
of
to do it.
BidNet, for example. But we're also trying to get this into some professional journals, i.e. parking management type national journals that would broaden the scope of the RFP. All right, so that's out there. I want to thank Commissioner Salanitro for his invaluable assistance in helping us pull this thing together. And we're excited that we're actually going to have something that is relevant and perhaps extremely effective. We'll have to see.
And
The deadline is June 6th.
Yes, we put a June 6th deadline in there. What we're hoping is that we will be able to have enough time to review the responses so that we can at least present to the commission at the June 21st meeting.
That's what I wanted. That's still the goal. We had discussed
Yeah, that's
that.
exactly what we're looking for. We figured 2 weeks would be enough time.
Good, thank you.
And they have, okay, 2 weeks for enough time for us, and there's enough time between now and June 6th for them to pull together their proposals?
Yeah, it's, approximately 3 weeks or so, so our feeling is that there should be enough time for that.
Wonderful. Now, Commissioner Salanitro, I want to thank you also for all the hard work. Now, did you work, do we work with the Rye Citizens Committee as well?
We worked with Commissioner Pilla, worked on
Okay,
this
yeah.
as well. I want to thank
You're everywhere.
Commissioner Pilla for that.
I
as
have
well.
to make up for not attending all the meetings, right? And I really want I have to contribute. That's my role. And this has been a lot of fun, though. I didn't mean to interrupt Commissioner Salanitro.
No, that's,
Plus, it was an election year, so.
I believe Mr. Matheson has a copy of it. I gave him a quasi-advanced copy. Hopefully, we did have a site visit before the preparation of the bid document, and we worked with CORE since they had a better feel for what we wanted, and putting together a generic bid document that is, meets all the requirements for the bidding. But we did put 3 proposals in here, so we have base model, which involves their work, the low bidders' work with the Rydtown Park people for some of the capital work, and then it goes to proposal B, and then the proposal C is turnkey.
Okay.
So we'll get a good sense of where the unanticipated or anticipated expenses would be above and beyond the equipment purchase.
Beautiful. And, Mayor Philip, please.
Mr. Supervisor, this is really exciting, actually, and I think this will be the game changer that we need to get to those, free for residents goals that we just espoused. It really, Commissioner Salanitro has really added so much value to this this whole project because there's a bunch of moving parts, and really the citizens from RIE, both the Finance Committee, Paula and Christina, and the folks from the Parking Committee, that subcommittee that we had, it really has been a lot of fun. It's very, very exciting. I think what this means to the future of that budget and Rye-Town Park is great.
Well, that's terrific. I want to thank Commissioner Salanitro, Commissioner
How are we
Pilla,
gonna fund this?
Right. Well, that's easy peasy. That's,
meanwhile, back at the
One
ranch,
step,
we need
one-
to think about that, right?
No, I think that's. I think there's a broader question that we'll need to deal with going forward, and that is, sort of sparked a little bit by our participation in the Playland. Is, it was interesting to see there's some absolutely fantastic proposals, and I'd love to get some of that energy and firepower behind the proposal for Rye-Town Park and the pavilion. And it's a wonderful facility, a wonderful site, and I think that. We need to think about this and then funding for the pavilion as well. But just to let that infrastructure deteriorate the way it has over the years is an absolute crime.
There's probably something sized right for that neighborhood, right, in the zoning, yeah.
And I think if we get some of the creative energy applied to that, then I think we could have there's another challenge for the people that live near the park, but I think it could be really exciting. Mayor French?
Yeah, I would just add for Corporation Council. One of the things, in the city of Rye, we acquired a lot of different real estate assets, and one of the things we toyed with was creating an LDC. And there are pros and cons to it, I understand, but if we get an opinion.
Explain what's an LDC.
It's a land development corporation, which basically takes the politicos out of the process and sets up a separate body of experts that are appointed by the commission to look at an asset, a real estate asset, and make determinations on an RFP and the whole business model. And we've toyed with that, and we decided not to do it because we were close enough to a decision. But here, we're such at the early stages. It'd be helpful to get just an opinion from Corporation Council if that's something that we should consider, or we should just continue.
I love that idea, but I want to hear. You're for the corporate, Mr. Noto.
Not tonight.
But is it legal? Is that the question?
Yeah, it's a legal entity. Yeah, I wouldn't do that to you, Paul. No, but just give an opinion back to.
This is why I jump. Just a thumbs up or a thumbs down.
Well, the advantages, really, because whether you can and why it would be good are really the two things, because that really for economic development and it's good things. Its applicability here is interesting to consider, actually.
Right.
It's interesting.
I love the idea.
I'm not sure how it could be leveraged.
Mayor French mentioned it last night, and again, we've sort of been talking around this issue for a long time and just haven't really been able to cohere a response and a proposal. And I think that if the Land Development Corporation we've had so much success with the various committees in Rye, if we did something along, and I saw the success in Playland, if we got in what is it?
LDC.
LDC. It might just be that engine we need to.
Or if not through establishing a distinct legal entity, the development corp, just having a focused energy on an RFP and things, because there's a lot of moving parts to this, right? We have to consider the highest best use, what's complementary to the park, and really what suits the zoning and the character of the neighborhood, because it's a lot different than the egress right there. Than the Playland, and I'm sensitive.
It could be a
It might
dedicated
also
committee.
be-
Yeah. go ahead.
But so it's a project, right? Sorry to interrupt.
And there also may be something, we don't know what's going to happen with Playland, whether or not there'll be some sort of symbiotic relationship as well.
Right.
Could I slip a question in here? Mayor Pilla, I know that you've got a fair amount of experience with the Community Development Block Grant Program, and the question here is would there be any application for Rye-Town Park as, perhaps developing a public use facility?
That's interesting to consider. I'm certainly not a subject matter expert, but from what I know, the things that you have to consider, we may have missed a window, frankly, because there's a public hearing process.
The window right now for the next cycle is coming up very quickly.
Yeah, but do you guys still have, anybody still have an open public hearing in your municipality? I closed mine yesterday, actually.
Well,
Because
there are some very interesting issues as far as community development block grants. I won't go into I'm sure Paul's aware of this, but there's some interesting issues that have developed if in fact, and I don't know the impact to the town of Rye, if in fact you're one of the 31 municipalities dealing with affordable housing.
well, they're half in, right? But I don't know that the town of Rye participates in the consortium
I don't
directly.
know. I don't know,
But
but
the park may be ineligible by virtue of where
I
it
think-
sits in the census tract.
Well,
I suspect.
that's what I'm
'Cause
not
I don't
sure
think
about.
it's-
I think it's a low mod situation.
But it could be like the users
suggest-
too.
Well,
But it's got to be
Rye Grove-
51%, and
Rye
they're not
Grove
our
areas-
residents, so I don't think it would be
We
eligible.
qualify.
Is my gut.
Well, not necessarily, you don't know.
We might have missed a window. We don't know.
It might
but-
be townwide, I'm not really sure.
Okay.
Well, Norma,
But
you
the
know what?
next 3-year cycle is coming up,
I'll shoot Norma a
like
quick
June
email.
1st. And Norma Drummond,
So
yeah.
that's a great, Mr. Motnick, would you follow up with Mayor Pillette?
Absolutely.
I just want to go back to automation, if I may. One of the criticisms that has been discussed with some residents who've looked at the meetings is the fact that, and it's a tough one, they say, you understand that summer jobs have been given to young people and the youth in the park, and if you go an automated model, that would preclude summer jobs. And it's a tough thing, because, and that's the one area I feel badly with, but on the other hand, there's some checks and balances, and I do feel badly, so maybe there'll be other opportunities, especially if we get into other uses of the park. But it is something I will say publicly I do feel very badly about, because I understand it's very difficult for especially high school, college students to get jobs, and the park has been very good about, let's face it, Terry, I see Terry.
Even with the automation,
There'll still be opportunities,
there'll still be,
but just not as many.
probably not as many, but
Yeah.
close to what we have right now.
Yeah. It's just, unfortunately, technology is what it is, and those are the consequences. I just wanted to say that I'm certainly aware of it and sensitive to it, but on the other hand, we
Sure.
do have certain obligations as fiduciaries.
Sure.
Yeah, we just want to alert the commission that we have agreed to take on 5 what I would call young people under the 10F program, which is a subsidized program.
Before, right?
To explain that for the public and to the commissioners, in essence, this is a federally funded program that ultimately works through various nonprofits in the county. We are getting 5 people. They are paid minimum wage, and they are paid for 20 hours a week of work. And that's the extent. It does not cost Rye-Town Park Commission or Rye-Town Park any money other than to be able to administer their compensation and so forth. The full funding is run through the federal grant.
Beautiful. Great. Okay. Any other comments on the automated RFP?
Yeah, I would just add that I've actually been an advocate of getting public officials on this board, but looking at the contributions of my fellow commissioner, I rescind that motion. Anyway, but seriously, part of the automated parking, though, is around controls around the parking. And I think even though we're not doing it for this season, there are simple controls we could put in place. I was just someplace you had to pay cash to go in, and you had to display the receipt in your window. And that's so people can walk through the park and see the receipts displayed in the window. I don't know why we can't just institute simple procedures like that to give us some level of reconciliation with the cars that are paying cash to park and parking.
Yeah, in fact, actually, I know where, please, Terry. Come on, you're going to come out. Yeah, come to me.
That wouldn't be a problem. The only problem I see is Johnny Discounts using the parking voucher, the parking receipt. So that car wouldn't have a receipt in its.
What I'd like to propose is, you can do some. Terry, if you stay there for a second, maybe, or you and Fred come up with, anything from simple as that clicker that
That's it. Joe, that honestly, if you had a kid clicking and counting the cars, you'd have a reconciliation process, right?
Exactly. So, Terry, I was going to ask that you and Fred come up with something
Yeah,
for this summer that we're going to use from as simple as that. I know there's an automatic counter too as you come in right now.
No.
Sometimes it's turned on and off.
Sorry to interrupt. Actually, I guess I'm used to being here. I'm comfortable running the meeting.
You're in the wrong seat tonight.
Right. I'm nostalgic. Actually, when I was first elected, I used to sit here. I think But I was in Chicago 2 weeks ago, actually, before I was elected. I worked for a company in Chicago. We had a reunion, and I took one of these architectural boat tours. And when you had the ticket, and there was somebody on the boat just counting the heads, and that separation of duties and the second set of eyes kind of a thing. It really is all you need.
Yep. Well, if you could, Terry, you guys.
That and the reconciliation, that closeout process, yeah.
Can I,
Yep,
I
Fred.
bring,
Hold on. Let's give Fred a chance.
I just would like to add to that, our security chief recommended that just recently. We're going to implement that.
Good.
Wonderful.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Great.
Good hire, too.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, nice, good hire. Wonderful. Okay, sorry, Bishop, did you want to say something?
no, I was just going to do the math for you to understand that we have parking open 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. If we're going to dedicate a person to do that at $8 an hour, that runs you borderline $10,000.
Use one of those circuits.
We were thinking of having
Use
you
those kids.
volunteer.
I'm just,
Well, Bishop, exactly.
I just
think
wanted to
that-
mention
I think
to
Commissioner
you-
Saw, can I get a second on that?
You know, what about those SER, those grant kids?
Not everything has to cost us money, Bishop.
no, I understand. I'm just trying to say that.
I think Joe's,
Something more valuable
our new security, Joe, you want to comment on that?
Yes, what me and Fred were talking about is that one of the men that's working in the booth already, a cashier, would be clicking as we go in.
Right.
So we know how it is, and when we have the
Can't be in the booth, though. Doesn't work if they're in
Well,
the
as the
booth.
cars are going through, he clicks.
Nah, you got to separate them because honestly, we could be in cahoots about. I let that.
Well,
guy
you
in
could have,
downtown.
but
No, you got to have them outside.
The receipts will also match at the end.
Not to tell you how to do your job, but
Well,
in the boat was in a separate section of the boat from the one.
So, all right, so
Yeah.
Joe, Fred,
The second part would be that when we have the overflow and we have to close the parking lot itself, we would have somebody standing there also watching the cars that go out and click, so we know how many
beautiful.
spaces we do have available to bring more residents into the park.
wonderful. Well, if Joe, Fred, I'm a big memo person. If you guys it could be 3 paragraphs, right? But just if you guys just come up, I'd like to have it written. Just 3 paragraphs on what you guys are intending to do with the system. But I do think we need to sort of I think in anticipation of the automation system, we could probably anticipate some of the results, and I think the reconciliations, it's a good idea. So thanks for that suggestion.
Just one last point. I did get a call today about the Seaside Johnny dedicated parking, and I think as part of his license, we kind of agreed that he should have dedicated spots. However, as we saw last year, those spots weren't full to begin with. And so, yeah, if you could manage that as the flow comes in, I think that's what we're looking for. You're going to actually open up some spots for the public, right? But then even if his 40-some-odd slots are not being used, at a certain point in time, start to rotate the public in those, right?
Okay, well, actually, that's a good segue. So we don't need to obviously vote on the RFP. It's just letting people know.
Yeah.
It's gone out,
It's out.
June 6th, we'll get it. And now, and the two commissioners, is it Commissioner Nieto and Commissioner Pilla, that will be reviewing with the committees?
Really,
to
the
review
professional staff.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, once we get it, we will tabulate it fairly quickly and get it back out to the two commissioners.
Great. Wonderful. Okay, that's a good segue, Mayor French, to your report, Fred.
Okay, first of all, I just would like to thank the chairman and the commission members for their compliments to the employees. We constantly get quite a few complaints, and it's good for the heart for people to compliment them on, because feet on the ground, they work hard every day. I'd like to also compliment Mayor French, who gave us all this extra work to do this year. It's not true. There's no bear trap there waiting for you, but it's actually put all our people in a same mindset. We've had numerous meetings to come up with these personnel hours, day, week, month, year, and I think we've got, over the last 3 years, we've had improvements every year. And I think that this year, the improvements are going to a new level. So I have to compliment you guys. But I thank you for complimenting them because they really do work hard. And we've done our best to cut this budget down. I also like to thank the committees. We sat with Paula a couple of times. She gave us some great ideas to each of our staffers that helped us put together all these numbers. Of course, we want to thank Caroline and Christina. In fact, I heard that they were going through the park the other night with night vision goggles to make sure that. Were you? We did. So you know that and I guess it's Paula and Mike. Is it Mike? Yeah. So thank you all, because the mindset comes together and the best product comes out of it. We'll figure a way to work that click thing. We've been going over it each day as we go along. I'm just going to highlight here. Each of you have gotten a copy of these. I emailed them personally, so you should have the information. As far as preseason parking, we're not having such a great year because of all of this rain.
You know where we were last year? You're about
Yeah.
3,798 so far.
Yeah, we're about 4,300 so far, counting, you know.
Where were we last year this time?
22,000.
22,000.
22,000.
We're 43 now and 22,000 last year.
Yes. We had a couple to few really warm days last year where we capitalized on the amount of cars that came, and it's still a bargain. You can't park anywhere all day for $5 or all day for $3 if you have a permit. As far as maintenance projects, we're constantly keeping the lawns mowed. We're working on the flowers, the beds, the bushes, the trees, and we did purchase and put in the 2 new water fountains, so our beach does have water, and people love it. It's an adult and a child water fountain, so far they've been using them very well. Bill contacted the pond water treatment contractor, so we're trying to get ahead of the curve on the pond, not to get into. Hopefully it'll be warm enough this year where we might have that problem, but we're going to be ahead of that curve for the water treatment. Also, the trees. Many trees came down all over the place, especially in Portchester, Lions Park. Remember, a whole slew of them were burnt. Well, we only lost 1 or 2, and I believe that's from the the positive way that we started feeding the roots and pruning them and treating them.
Are you saying we don't do a good job in Portchester? No, I'm teasing you.
No, I was shocked. I rode down Willard Avenue and I said, there's like a dozen trees down.
A lot of wind whipped through there, yeah.
It wasn't just you. It was Crawford Park too. It was a lot of parks.
2 years ago, yeah.
So we've been doing a lot in that area, not to have a repeat of the algae growth that happened last year that we really didn't have any control over, but that we eventually rid. As far as parking and closing, we will have. Last year, when I saw that Seaside Johnny wasn't using all the spaces that we allocated to him, what I was doing was backfilling them. When we started getting up, a lot of people, and we were going too far up, I was backfilling them best I could, but I always left him enough spaces that there'd be no complaints. And he actually supposed to send a guy out there to monitor that, and he did it, and I'm not doing this in a negative. I would have to send my people there to monitor it for the most part. So we're gonna allocate the spaces to him. He'll always be covered because we had an agreement. Once we give our word, we try to keep our word best we can. Next part is safety and security. So I know Joe's already been introduced, but Joe so far has come in and taken a real hands-on position with security and with parking. And we're going to eliminate some of the problems that we had in the past. I tried every way from Adam to tweak them. So now Joe's going to be in charge of that, and he's already training. We've only had a couple of guys there on a couple of days where we needed them, but he's already training them. No cell phones, no smoking, no walking away from your post, and pay attention to what you're doing. So, Joe, I'd like you to come up and say a couple of words on that.
What we're trying to do is get everybody up to a professional par. We're having everybody, both parking attendants and security guards, trained in CPR AED in-house by the lifeguard captain. We also want all the security guards to be New York State certified or licensed security guards to show a little more professionalism on the floor. My security guards also have to do the FEMA course. I don't know if a lot of the officers, firemen have to do it, incident management courses. So